Namaskar. Tributes to these two great personalities, and then all the great personalities before me. Thank you very much for being associated with me and my wonderful friend, author, authentic writer. He is authentic writer. I'm happy that he wrote a wonderful PhD based book. He may has to write some more books on these kinds of topics, issues which are going to be very, very serious for this country, for this constitution, for the people around, and the points which are discussed by Purichandra garu. Chala wonderful points he has given and explained to all of us. Now we are supposed to talk about capital and media, or media and capital, media of the capital or capital of media. We don't know what can we talk about these two aspects. I was in media, but I never had a capital to run a newspaper. In fact, my father was a newspaper editor in Warangal, and it was very difficult for him to run it. He wanted to make it a daily newspaper also in Warangal Vani, called Warangal Vani. I was also totally associated with that. But it was very, very difficult to deal with, to deal with whom? I'd like to tell you it is dealing with corruption is difficult. Not any other point. Not any other point. I'm very sorry to say this. Because of corruption, my editor or my father, he has to give 60% of the cost of the printing of the what is it? What is it called? Newsprint. Advertisement. For advertisement, you have to pay 60%. 60%. And some people, friends came to me and said, if you pay 60%, your newspaper will run and you can do a wonderful job as a newspaper editor and newspaper publisher and printer. Then my father said, I'm going to I want to decide to stop the newspaper than giving money. And that's how we lost the newspaper, daily newspaper. And we ran away to Delhi, Hyderabad. And Hyderabad I had to become an ordinary reporter. I was editor. Once upon a time, the editor became a reporter. This talks about the consensus between relationship between corruption, penalty, money, and capital, and the association with the governments. This is the reality. Maybe I'm giving my experience, but that may be serious experience than what I can talk about it now. Serious experience. Now, I want to again give information from my own experience. When I was in Udayam newspaper, I was writing on corruption in TTD, Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam. Corruption. I wrote 9 articles. And all 9 articles were very, very sensational. And because of that, N.T. Ramarao has constituted a commission. And the commission, I was supposed to defend the newspaper, and I have to do it personally. Because the editor also suggested me, editor Dasari Narayan Rao, he suggested me, you deal with. It's a challenge also. Then I thought I need some support from the advocates who can deal with certain aspects. But the advocate doesn't know the topic which I have dealt with. He doesn't know. Then I had to explain. I explained. Then at a point, I wanted to have a file. I want to see the file. It's a fantastic question. Who will give me the file of the government? Who will give the file of TTD? To an ordinary man like me, a journalist, how can you give? You cannot. Then I said, I'm asking you, the commission, I'm asking you, the commission, to give me the copy of the capital, of the, what is it? File, of the file. Then he said, there was a strong arguments on either side, and then commission has decided, luckily decided, yes, we'll give you the files. How many files you give? And it was another challenge for me. When I was in Tirupati, there is a very big table. On the table, at least 50,000 files are kept before me. What can I do with that? How can I explain the corruption with this? See, I simply walked around and then picked up one file and I opened some 100 pages or 50 pages and I could find a letter which explains the corruption. I'm surprised. And then he thought, all those who are around me, he thought that I have already read it them, and so I'm filing them all those files, and I'm talking about it. Then on that day, at the end of the day, entire day rather, from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the evening, I could find 390 files, very important files, and I given it, and I won the case. Now the point to be noted is not explaining my experience. I'm talking about right to know, right to information. I'm talking about right to information. When I wrote this, there was no right to information. Right to information is not available. What I wrote was in 1985. I wrote it that in 1985, and I have the freedom of information or right to information in 2005. Long before. Then I never knew that I will be using my experience as a Central Information Commissioner on RTI like this. I was talking about the people on this. Do you know what's the most important point is part of right to information is you can ask for the file. This is the point. One should know that. Take the file, not the entire information. Ask for the file. The moment you get the file, you can know entire information about the file. If they give you the file, they don't give the file. That's a different, serious question. And he was talking about that, and I don't want to continue on that. It's a controversy. Every ask for information, every asking for a file is a very controversy. And I'd like to tell you, on my decisions, on my judgments, based on my judgments, more than 1,500 cases were filed before the High Courts and Supreme Court. 1,500 cases. Just a rough suggestion. I don't know how many it is around me, and I'm also appearing before some of the issues, but I'm not responding to these kind of things. Saying that as an officer, as a commissioner, I need not be present before the judge or Supreme Court. I need not. If you want to take a decision, take a decision. If you want to remove my judgment or out of this, yes, please do that. I don't have any problem, but I don't interfere. And I'm also not supposed to write on that. So I'm also not writing. I'm not supposed to write, rather. So I'm also avoiding it. Okay, I want to tell you about the point is, if you know what is that you can question in a file, if you have a right to know that file, if you can see the file, there will be freedom of speech and expression. There will be, with the freedom of speech and expression, there is a constitution, and you are talking about the rule of law. Without that rule of law, without that constitution, without that right to 19(1)(a), your entire book, your entire research, investigation, capital, whatever it is very difficult to run it according to constitution. I want to find a few points and then conclude. There are, we have estates. We have estate, three estates: executive, judiciary, legislature. Fantastic. We talk about it, write about it, discuss about it. But we are also talking about fourth estate. We don't know whether it is surely fourth estate now. Can we search for another estate other than fourth estate? Or some people are talking about the fifth estate, and and we have to talk about real estate. The most important part is real estate. In fact, it is real estate that is running all the three other estates. Four estates, rather, I can say. All the four are running the estates on the real estate. In fact, real estate is, in my view, as a professor, as a teacher, and as all teachers before me, it is education. Education is the real estate, but it is not. I'm only talking about it, but it is not. Real estate, it is not real estate. Now we are supposed to talk about what? Social media. Social media is you have a latest example available to the power of social media. Social media is in Nepal. Somehow I was in Nepal, in that total position problematic area. I was in Nepal, and I could see what was happening, what was being burning, what is happening around. It is very, very difficult to understand who did it, who has created this problem. Nobody has created any problem. It was from media, not media, social media. So I want to explain that the power of media is now turning into social media power. I might have been an ordinary journalist in the beginning. I was a Doordarshan journalist also for some time. And after Doordarshan, I was frustrated from this kind of activities, and then switched over to teaching, and I could become a professor of law because I studied media law, most of the topics of media law. And I taught media law for 14 years. Now media law is totally changed. What I wrote, what is today now, I think there is no point. He was referring to ethics of media. Whether can we talk about that? We have to talk about fake journalism, fake news, fake media. What is that we have to say? So my final point I want to say is, you have to protect your right to speech. You have to question. You have to answer somebody for doing something wrong. If you don't ask your question, where is the right to information? Where is the freedom of speech and expression? Where is the constitution?
Okay,
Nothing without this. So please remember, you have to ask. Recently there was a meeting in Delhi where Upendra Bakshi, if you remember Upendra Bakshi, is a wonderful professor, very serious, senior professor, serious professor also. Then he was talking on judiciary, And 4 or 5 judges are around. 4 or 5 judges. Then after entire the talk was going on, at the end, some judge asked the professor. Remember that. Yes, professor is not asking the judge. The judge is asking the professor. And then professor said, "Sir, all problems that you have pointed out is because of lack of spine. Spine. Only 3 points I have to tell you: spine, spine, spine. If you don't have spine, there is no constitution. There is no democracy. So spine, we shall get the spine. Each of us should have a spine. Thank you very much.